Hey guys, how's it going? This is going to be a video on probably the first knife that I've ever owned that I would consider to be an absolute grail knife for me. This is a knife that I have wanted for over 2 years now, ever since I first saw the knife, and I knew I wanted one, and I am unbelievably happy that I have actually finally come to own one. Of course, I'm talking about the Direware Solo V4. This knife, it's a long time coming to get this knife. It was about 14 months waiting period. I got on his list, I believe, back in April of last year, and it's been a long wait, but it's definitely paid out in the end. This knife is without a doubt the coolest knife I've ever owned. The build quality on this knife is above and beyond anything I've ever held. You know, just every single detail about this knife is done so perfectly and finished so nicely that you know, it's just an awesome piece, and you're not going to be able to understand it until you have one. And it's in my opinion an extremely good value purchase for what you're going to pay for it from Eric at Direware. I believe this was under $600, this knife right here, and you know, not even considering the secondary market resale price that you can get right now. Just in and of itself, the price that you pay for this knife from Eric for under $600, getting a knife of this quality and you know, these materials, is in my opinion an absolute unbeatable value. This thing is just awesome. You can probably gather that, you know, I'm pretty excited about this knife. But anyways, so like I said, this is a Direware Solo V4. This is the 4th version of his Solo line, and obviously this one isn't a typical Solo, because this one is rocking the Wharnecliffe style blade. At least that's how he refers to it. If you notice, it's more sort of like a hawkbill. I would classify it as a hawkbill blade, just because of the curvature. You know, it's not absolutely flat, but regardless, whatever it's called, it's definitely an awesome design, awesome shape, and it really goes well with this knife. You can see that I got your standard carbon fiber. It's a matte finish, which is by far my favorite finish for carbon fiber. I see absolutely no need in anybody ever polishing carbon fiber to get a shiny finish on it, because in my opinion it kind of degrades from the overall look. You know, why would you take something that's naturally you know, metallic looking or reflective and just go ahead and put a false, you know, finish on it, when you can just, you know, sand it up real nice and smooth and have a, you know, a natural, more dull finish on it, like what Eric did here. And it's absolutely amazing. It's incredibly smooth, absolutely no imperfections in it. I don't think I've ever had a carbon fiber knife that had 0 imperfections. You know, there's always a little imperfection here or there, but Eric does an incredible job picking the materials that he builds this knife with, and the carbon fiber is just immaculate. You can see, you can actually see the different layers in the carbon fiber from the side. You can see how absolutely thick the slab of carbon fiber is. It's the thickest piece of carbon fiber I've ever seen, and I believe it's over 5 millimeters thick. I'd say it's about 5 millimeters thick on the edge, but then it actually kind of bulges towards the middle, if you can see that. Same with the titanium, so it's kind of got a 3D contour to it. So it's actually at its thickest point in the center of the handle, and at that point it's going to be over 5 millimeters. So just think about some of the knives you have that have crazy thick blades, you know, like this J. Kobach Warhorse. It's got a 0.2 inch blade, you know, 5 millimeters, and the carbon fiber handles on this knife are thicker than this blade. Now the blade thickness on this is not as thick as the handles. It's 0.18 inches. I believe that's 4 or 4.5 millimeters. You know, it's no slouch at all. It's definitely not a slouch. It looks a lot thinner than it really is, just because, you know, you're basically looking at it sandwiched between these two huge pieces of handle material. You can just see that I have a pretty fat thumb, and you can see how thick the knife is in comparison to my thumb. So if you had any preconceived notions of this knife being a very comfortable EDC carry for you, something that you could just slip onto your pants and forget about, this is definitely not that knife, because I'll tell you, you're gonna notice that you have this knife on you, with just how thick it is. Now, surprisingly to me, I guess maybe not, since it does have carbon fiber on one side of the handle, it's quite a bit lighter than my full-size Kobach Warhorse, and it's actually pretty nice. You know, and with the carbon fiber, the strength of the carbon fiber, you know, there's no need to have dual titanium handle slabs for this knife. Just how thick the handle is, there's no possibility of anything happening to this and any sort of typical use. You can see the pivot is absolutely immense. The entire theme of this knife is overbuilt, obviously, and the pivot is definitely not departing from that theme, and it's got a very nice finish on it. It's kind of a machined finish, really nice. On the reverse side, you just have your typical screw hole here, a little bit different design. You can see the lockup. Lockup is nice, pretty early, and it's very solid. And I got this knife about 3 weeks ago, and I was really shocked, actually. It had quite a serious issue with it, being that the lockup was slipping. It had vertical lock rock, and if you took your thumb and pressed down on the blade with minimal pressure, you could slip the lock right off and close the blade. So I actually had to send it back to Eric, and he fixed it up and returned it to me within a week. So, you know, customer service wise, pretty good. You know, can't complain as far as how he handles something that is relatively defective. But now that I got it back from him, it's absolutely bank vault solid, and in pretty much every way absolutely perfect. You can see I got the bronzed anodized titanium, and the finish on this titanium is beautiful. You can see it's like a deep bronze, sort of gold color, and it kind of fluctuates between bronze and purple, depending on, you know, the oils from your skin and whatnot. you can get kind of smudges of purple. You can kind of see there, and it's awesome. It's kind of a dynamic type finish. Just the overall design of this knife, in my opinion, is incredible. That's initially what, you know, drew me to wanting one of these Direwares. Just the technical look to the blade. There's nothing organic about the design of this knife. Everything is angles and, you know, just technical in its design. You don't have any flowing lines, you don't have any organic shapes. You know, it's just built to be a tank, and that's what it looks like. You know, he's got an awesome design going here. The clip is incredible looking. Definitely the coolest clip I've ever had on any knife. And I love the fact that it's kind of sitting on standoffs. Really cool. Now with the Solo V4 iteration, the clip has been upgraded from the V3 in that he has made it thicker. Now it's the same thickness as the blade, 0.18. So obviously that implies that the V3s had a slightly thinner stock clip. So yeah, that's been updated, and the clip is actually reversible. So you could do is tip, let's see, tip up by default, which is obviously typically what, you know, a right-handed carrier is going to want. But he gives you the option to flip it right over and make it tip down. He even gives you the extra screws to do it. Just a lot of forethought, you know. You don't get a lot of custom knives that have that functionality built into it. You can see the knife is pillar construction. You got 4 massive standoffs. These things are huge. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe in the earlier version he actually had 5. I might be wrong. I might have just included the stop pin with that. But in this one, he's got 4 huge stainless steel standoffs, put together with some thick screws. I like the ends of the screws over here. They're kind of like little, I don't know what you'd consider it, little domes. Pretty cool. It's not your typical false screw on this side, as is with a lot of you know, pivots and standoff screws. Typically only one will actually move. He's got some kind of decorative holes going on here. I don't think they really serve a functional purpose. They're pretty nice. The blade stop pin is obviously, that's the closed position, because the thumb studs function as a blade stop when the blade's open. This has also been upgraded from the version 3 in that it is non-rotational. Per, you know, Eric's website, that's what he says. And something that's really cool about the design that I absolutely love is just how he has this, you know, finger choil here, and if you look at it, it's actually a perfect circle. It's a perfect half circle. You know, that's awesome. Just the shape of that and the technical design. You know, like I said, it's not organic. It's deliberate, and it looks incredible. And he's got some, you know, jimping cut in here, and also on the tang of the blade here, or the flipper rather. Very functional, works really well. He kind of milled out grooves on both sides of the handle here to allow you to more easily engage the lock bar. I found that it's kind of difficult to disengage it, well, not actually disengaging it, but closing it one-handed, by putting your thumb, you know, up more, where typically you would think you would be meant to engage that bar, because what happens is as soon as you engage it, your thumb's kind of cut off by the flipper, and at that point you still haven't overcome the detent ball, so it still takes some pressure to close it. So what I find is it's easier to kind of engage the lock bar further back, and just, you know, then you have more room to let the blade slide past that detent ball while you still have pressure on the lock bar. You can see that the blade finish here, I had him do the light tumbled flats with satin, with a satin grind, and the swedge is also satin. It's an incredible finish. Looks really well together, and also the spine itself is tumbled. This knife is stupid sharp. It's one of the best edges that I've ever seen. It's a very thin cut profile, or a thin grind profile rather. You can see kind of in the belly there's hardly any, you can hardly even tell that there's a grind there, but it is incredibly sharp, especially with the hawk bill up front. It's definitely something you wouldn't want to rip into your skin. There's a lot of jimping up on the blade. No jimping actually in the handle, but a lot of jimping up front. That's somewhat functional. I don't think I'd ever see myself holding the blade up front, just because it's, you know, so big and got a lot of handle real estate. I think I'd hold it more back. Maybe if you wanted to do some cutting like this, that'd be more useful. But yeah, overall I'm honestly blown away. Definitely the coolest knife I've ever owned. I'm incredibly happy with it. The blade is perfectly centered. Like I said, absolutely everything about this knife is perfect in every way. You may think I'm overselling it a little bit, but that's honestly how I feel. I'm gonna try to make this a keeper for me. I'm gonna try to resist the urge of selling it for some quick cash, but at least my intentions as of now is to kind of hold on to it for as long as I can. This is definitely a grail knife, and if you're lucky enough to own a Direware, you know what I'm talking about. If you're lucky enough to already be on the books for a Direware, you will know what I'm talking about, and I assume that you will very likely agree with me once you receive yours. If you are not on the books, you're kind of out of luck, because his books are closed and have been now for some time, and I have no clue when he'll be opening the books back up. You know, I ordered this 14 months ago, and it took that long for me to get it that far back, and you know, since then he's just been kind of growing, so I can only imagine what the wait time is now. I'd imagine it's kind of pushing 2 years. So I mean, that's kind of why the secondary market's kind of inflated right now. Obviously, supply and demand working there. Let me just do some quick comparisons here for size. with some of my other knives. Put that up top. Let's take my Warhorse, put that below it. See, it's quite a bit shorter than the Warhorse. I'll actually move this down here. I'll put my Sebenza 25 in between. Nearly identical in length to the 25. The 25 I think might be just about a hair longer overall. I neglected to mention some of the specs. Overall, the Direware Solo V4 is 8.5 inches, blade length of 3.4 inches, so it's kind of your average medium to large sized knife, you know, spec wise. The blade steel, he changes the blade steel I say quite often. He goes through a lot of different types of blade steel, just I guess whenever he gets tired of working with one kind, he'll move to another. But anyways, the steel he's using now on the V4s is Bowler M390. Let's see if I can get you a shot. You can see around the pivot there, he has M390 engraved, and you can see the Direware logo. Really nice. So he's got Bowler M390 for the steel, which is, as you all know, a really good edge retention steel. Really good characteristics as far as edge retention goes. So it's a good user steel. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Don't have much else to say. This video has gone kind of long for me. Typically don't go this long, but obviously you can tell I'm quite excited about this knife. And anyways, I hope that you enjoyed. Hope that you found it pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more videos.